held, and notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Section 551.043 of the Texas Government Code. We'll start with audience with the board. The Seguin ISD Board of Trustees designates a time for audience participation at the beginning of each meeting to hear persons who desire to make comments in accordance with Board Policy BED Local. Those wishing to speak sign up before the meeting begins, stating the concern or noting the agenda item they wish to address. Audience participation is limited to 5 minutes, but tonight we have 10 speakers, so we'll go with 3 minutes. That'll give us a nice even half hour. The board shall not deliberate any subject that is not on the posted agenda. Okay, since we just have 10, I'll just call them one at a time. Our first speaker is Xander Bien. So if you've never used our microphone before, anybody that's going to speak, if you'll try to speak right into it, come as close to it as you can without putting your mouth right on it. But the closer you are, the better the folks behind you can hear and people at home.
Test.
Yes, Ms. Duncan, 3 minutes. All right.
Okay. Good evening, and thank you for your time. I want to first start off by questioning the intentions and integrity of these individuals, who some of which are not even members of the Seguin community, who come to judge the choices of our school district. Last session, we heard from a woman who came all the way from Kyle, another from New Braunfels. My question to those folks is, why are you so preoccupied with communities outside of your own, coming here to berate a school district that your children don't even go to? How do you suppose to know what the students of Seguin need? And furthermore, I question the intentions and integrity of those individuals that scream profanities read from books, acting out the undulations of their perversities they seek to ban. Why are they yelling out the very words that they deem harmful and despicable to a room full of both adults and children? It seems the hypocrisy of their statements evades them from thinking critically about how their actions are perhaps more despicable than anything that a student of Seguin can read in a book. My second point is that violence, underage sex, rape, drug abuse, homicide, suicide, poverty, and incarceration are all gruesome realities of a world that we already live in. They are gruesome realities faced by some of the community members of this town. By banning these books that speak openly about these difficult topics, what are we saying to these young people who have gone through unimaginable hardship? We are telling them that their stories are to be kept secret, that they are shameful, that they should be ashamed. We know through countless educational studies that the best way to ruin a child's chance of learning and growing is by dousing them with shame. And this is what we do with book bans. Some have called these books a how-to guide for violent and inappropriate acts. They are instead, how do I belong books. They are, how do I connect to others books. How do I ask for help? How will I survive? The point of these books are not meant to expose children to a phenomenon that they've never seen before. These books do not promote drug abuse, child abuse, or unsafe sex. What these books do instead is provide a resource of support for children who have already experienced these difficult traumas. Banning these books removes any hope that a child might feel less alone. My last point is this: children's suffering is not the fault of books. Children's suffering is the fault of a society that worries more about censorship than it does about social policies that would actually prevent student harm. I ask these interlopers of our community, do you even care about our students? Do you even care what they've been through and what they need? Do you worry about a declining literacy rate? Do you worry about our students who are houseless or who go hungry or who feel alone? I think you do not, and I think you do not really care to know either, but I do. We do. We in Seguin care about our students. Thank you.
Thank you. So sorry. Our next speaker is Tiffany Cunningham. Let me see what we can do. All right. Our next speaker is Lynette Lennox. And you'll have 3 minutes.
Members of the board, I am standing here again because the district continues to avoid addressing an issue that should have been resolved months ago. I have personally submitted 169 formal challenges to books in our school libraries that contain indecent, sexually explicit, and profane materials. I followed the process. I read the material. I cited policy. I did the work. On December 16th, Superintendent Jack Lee accepted 28 challenges submitted on a TEA adopted form and confirmed the receipt on December 17th without a hitch, without a problem, without an issue. On January 6th, I attempted to submit the remaining 141 challenges, and suddenly they were refused. I was told that they were on the wrong form, despite being consistent with what had already been accepted. I also was told the teachers could not be pulled from their duties to review these books, sending a clear message that reviewing sexually explicit material in student libraries is not a priority. During this process, references was made that I would pay for my attorney, and that who would pay for y'all's attorney? Me, the taxpayer. So, I retained Jonathan Houlihan with Remnant Law. I am represented today with an attorney. Instead of complying with state law and district policy, this administration appears willing to spend taxpayer money to fight parents and citizens to keep sexually explicit books in schools. That money should be going to classrooms, teachers, and students, and not legal resistance. This is not about banning books. It's about books that are available. These books are available in everywhere. They're Pecan Town, Amazon, everywhere. Why do they have to be in our schools? Adults can read whatever they want. We are protecting children from innocent and profane content. These are the same protections we've provided for the most vulnerable among us, our students, our children. Every day that Seguin ISD remains out of compliance is another day that you have failed our students. The time to obey the law is now. It's time to stop dragging your feet. The state of Texas is watching, as well as Texas Scorecard.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mike Diaz. Sir, you'll have 3 minutes.
Board President, Trustees, my name is Mike Diaz. I'm a Seguin resident. I'm here tonight for one clear reason: to protect students and follow Texas law on school library materials, especially sexually explicit and indecent content. Under Texas Education Code Chapter 33, the state's SB 13 framework, when the district receives a written challenge to a library material, the district must prohibit students' access to that challenged material until the district takes action. It's not optional. It is the standard the state has set, and parents expect you to enforce those standards consistently. So my request tonight is simple and practical. Accept and log every properly submitted challenge, restrict student access immediately while it's under review, publish a public tracker that includes the receive date, the title, status, and when the board will act, and put a formal SB 13 compliance action item on an upcoming agenda so that the board can set clear process and follow it every single time. Now, I want to acknowledge something. The Seguin ISD recently reported earning an A in its financial accountability rating, and that's good stewardship. But the Texas Education Agency Academic Accountability for 2024-25 shows Seguin ISD rated a D, and the Seguin High School also a D. Meanwhile, nearby Navarro ISD rated a B. When kids are exposed to things they shouldn't be, it didn't start with the kids. This is the most important point. It started with the standards that adults allowed. You all, the adults, are the adults in this room. You set those standards. Please lead accordingly. I'm asking you to match your financial A discipline with A-level leadership on student protection, transparency, and the law so that you can earn and keep the public's trust. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to ask our audience to please be polite and not interrupt our speakers as they're speaking. We appreciate the decorum. Our next speaker is Patricia Buckley. Ma'am, you'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Good evening, Dr. Lee and members of the board. I'm a retired Seguin ISD educator. Thank you for your time tonight. I'm the Director of Retired Senior and Volunteer Program in this county and in 3 other counties. We place tutors in elementary schools, including in this school district. I want to talk about the effects that I've seen of Senate Bill 13. This bill has caused my program to have delays in starting, as librarians in some other districts, not this one, spent the first 2 full months of school with the libraries completely closed, going through their books line by line. We couldn't use the libraries, we couldn't use the books, we couldn't do tutoring. I couldn't use the books that I carefully curated to use in my program, even though I'm a reading specialist and I do have an idea what I'm doing. For months, we couldn't even do tutoring with the kids. Let that sink in. We couldn't do our job because people were too concerned about what's sitting on the library shelves, not concerned about the kids getting the instruction they needed, concerned about what's sitting on the library shelves. And for what? We all know censorship is a very slippery slope. Once you start banning one thing, you ban another and another and another. It's serious, and I hate seeing it. And I hate hearing people talk about the fact that, yes, school districts employ legal attorneys. They have to, because there are always people trying to challenge school districts on every single thing. And yes, my taxpayer money pays for those attorneys, and I'm happy to do so that the people who work in the schools can spend their time working in the schools. The teachers can teach. The librarians have books for the kids to use. Our libraries are not closed as they are in some other districts for months because parents are challenging every single thing. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate that you understand that we have professionals in our libraries. I trust that our librarians do the very best for our kids, and I thank you for trusting them as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Kim Saunders. You'll have 3 minutes.
I'm Kim Saunders. I've lived in this community mostly since 1978. I have a 25-year-old son who went through Seguin ISD public schools. I taught at Seguin High School for 15 years as an English and English dual credit teacher. I live here and I pay taxes here. Providing a wide variety of literature from a broad range of authors is important. These authors' lived experiences and interests inform the nonfiction and fiction they create. Providing literature that features a diverse array of stories and characters is important. These stories can serve as lights among dark paths. Some stories serve as cautionary tales, guides for what not to do, what choices not to make. Some stories present roadmaps for solving problems, connecting with others, developing self-awareness, or encouraging critical thinking. Some stories highlight and showcase resiliency, fairness, equity, and identity. Kids need to read stories that are messy, stories whose characters grapple with growing up and figuring out how to live in this messy world with messy problems and messy human beings. Life isn't a fairy tale. Kids need to know that they will be okay, no matter their experiences, no matter their identities, no matter the color of their skin, orientation, religion, anything. They don't need stories of perfect human beings living perfect lives. They need guides, companions, and safe spaces to figure out possible solutions and ways forward. All children, no matter their identity, need to know that their own life stories are valid, that they are valid, accepted, valued, and loved, especially here in Seguin. An identity is not an obscenity. We love and accept all students in Seguin ISD, no matter their backgrounds, experiences, and identities, and we need to preserve and honor the stories that reflect our students' lives. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Ella Nash. Ma'am, you'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Ella Nash, and I'm an outreach specialist with the Alamo Area Council of Governments Clean Cities Coalition. Clean Cities is a Department of Energy designated coalition that provides technical assistance and training to promote the adoption of clean transportation technologies in our region. I'm here tonight to make the case for electric school buses and let you know about a workshop Clean Cities will be facilitating this spring. Before I jump into that opportunity, I'd like to share a few points that illustrate the need for electric buses. The most immediate benefit that electric school buses offer is zero tailpipe pollution, which can lead to a significant improvement in student health. Diesel school buses produce harmful air pollutants both outside the vehicle and, more significantly, inside the cabin that can cause respiratory issues, decreased attention span, and, as a result, increased absenteeism. Additionally, diesel exhaust pollution is a known carcinogen, so exposure to these pollutants is damaging to anyone, including bus drivers, but it has especially adverse effects for children's developing lungs. In addition to eliminating diesel exhaust pollution exposure, electric school buses have lower operating and maintenance costs than diesel buses. Though they are expensive to purchase, when combined with grant funding to help cover the upfront cost, the total cost of ownership for electric school buses can be significantly lower than diesel buses. And in Texas, there are opportunities that can assist with this. The Texas Clean School Bus Program, through the Texas Emissions Reduction Plan, or TERP, is currently accepting applications and can reimburse up to 80% of the upfront costs for replacing a pre-2007 school bus. And there's another open TERP grant that can reimburse up to 100% of costs when you replace active buses 2003 or older. Clean Cities can assist with applying for and navigating funding opportunities, so now is the right time to begin thinking about electrification. That brings me to the opportunity that I mentioned before. Alamo Area Clean Cities is organizing a workshop for school districts interested in learning more about electric school buses on March 27th. This workshop will be completely free and will focus on a variety of electrification topics, like selecting charging infrastructure, acquiring grant funding, hearing from districts who have successfully implemented electric buses, and an in-person electric bus demonstration. Even if you're skeptical, we encourage you to come join us for the day, have lunch on us, bring questions, and become empowered to implement this technology should the district decide it's the right fit. If this is something the district is interested in participating in, I encourage you to please reach out to me. I have business cards and flyers at the table over here. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Ann Craig.
Hello. Okay. I'm Ann Craig. I've been a bit of a snowbird for about 30 years. In the last 4 years, I am living in Seguin. All of those years, I have been paying school taxes. I pay school taxes as a single adult because I believe in schools, I believe in kids, and I believe in the freedom to think and get the information that we need. And kids need that. The impression we would get from some folks is that kids don't get information from any other source than from schools. But let's be real. Kids are struggling with a massive inflow of information, much of it sexualized. Do we want to leave them by themselves to kind of figure out what's right, what's wrong? Schools are an important source of guidance. Libraries are an important source of guidance. We need to have books that give kids the tools to make those right decisions, to know what values are, and to have librarians guide them to age-appropriate material for their own questions. Otherwise, we get a lot of kids getting sexted and getting their artificial intelligence kind of fake sex stories out there, and they don't know what to do with it, and too many of them commit suicide. Let's keep our libraries, let's keep our kids alive, informed, and whole. I appreciate everything everybody is doing here. I really want folks that claim to be doing this in the name of religion to remember that the Bible should be banned if you want to eliminate all sources of information about sex, rape, incest, and a lot of other pretty gruesome things. You have one story of a woman being dismembered. Now, that's in the Bible. I think we need to get our feet on the ground and talk to each other about what's good for our kids. We want them alive. We want them to know that we care and that we're going to share good information with them because they're already facing a lot and they need our help. So thank you. I really appreciate all of your leadership very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Pedro Melendez. Sir, you'll have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Pedro Melendez, 605 Roosevelt. I just want to say thank you for letting me speak today. If everyone had a book, let's say Motor Trend, Good Housekeeping, the Bible, and I just yanked it from your hand, that would feel like I was taking away some of your rights, some of your privileges, some of your liberties. That's kind of what's happening in a sense. I'm old. So I'm not doing this for me, I'm doing this for the kids. They need to learn. They need to have access to information. Libraries for some kids is actually like a sanctuary. They have to get away from the bullying, get away from any of the actual negativity going on in the school. They can get away, they can get out there and learn something about themselves, about something new. Here it's a lot of beliefs of Christianity, which I'm okay with that. But if you think about it, in the Bible, it does say, Leviticus 25:45, it's okay to have children as slaves. That's something that always kind of resonated, made me think about. And then the fifth commandment says, honor thy father and mother. It doesn't say honor thy children. It doesn't say that. So when you talk about kids and how to respect them, let's give them the information that they need. Let's not take it away. Let's support them as adults, as not only our own kids, but other kids. We have to think about them and what they feel. Also, slavery was legal at one point. Segregation was legal at one point. Taking Native American children was legal at one point. And stealing land as well. But history keeps teaching us one lesson. Legality is not morality. So just because it's on the books as a law doesn't really mean it's really morally right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Tiffany Cunningham, did you? Yes, ma'am. You'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Madam President, Madam Vice President, and trustees. Thank you for providing this space for community voices. When I stood here a year and a half ago, I felt I had exhausted all options and still felt unheard. You changed that. Today, I'm grateful to serve in a district with a board that listens and takes action when needed. So thank you. I greatly appreciate it. This is my 4th year teaching high school English. Last year, many of you visited my classroom while my students and I studied Fahrenheit 451. For those unfamiliar, it is a cautionary novel about a society that burns books to eliminate discomfort and dissent. revealing how suppressing ideas erodes critical thinking, empathy, and the very humanity education is meant to protect. Though written in the 1950s, my students were struck by how relevant it still felt last spring. Today, we are seeing outside actors attempt to pressure this district into removing access, rather than trusting the review process the law already provides. Broad censorship disproportionately harms vulnerable students in our district. When books are removed wholesale, students who already feel unseen due to race, disability, trauma, or identity often lose the only mirrors they have in literature. Here is the beauty of Senate Bill 13. It gives parent control. If a parent does not want their child to read a particular book, they can make that choice without denying access to another student who may need it. Compliance does not require erasure. Our district librarian has created a safe, professional space for students and staff and assembled a thoughtful committee to weigh educational value against risk. That is the process the law intended. I ask that you trust that and trust her. Finally, to those advocating for the removal of hundreds of books, do you know the current literacy rate in our state? Do you know how difficult it is to engage a reluctant reader? And do you know how lonely this world can feel until a student finds an author who finally makes them feel seen? Finally, I ask you, in a district already working to meet state standards, is this truly the best use of our time and resources? Thank you.
Thank you. You going out there? Our next speaker is Dr. Jack Lee. Dr. Lee, you have 3 minutes.
Board, in my nearly 10 years of being a superintendent, I have never participated in public comment. However, I feel a responsibility tonight to speak on behalf of the educators and staff of this district. Every day, our teachers, librarians, counselors, paraprofessionals, administrators, and support staff show up with one clear purpose: to do what's best for students. They dedicate their lives to helping children learn, grow, and succeed. This is not simply a job. It is their profession, and for many, their life's work. Recently, an article was published about Seguin ISD that included claims regarding how this district and its leadership respond to challenges of library materials. I want to be very clear this evening. Those claims are inaccurate. At no time was legal action threatened against any taxpayer. When the individual stated they had an attorney ready to go, I replied back that the only people who win in those situations are the attorneys who get paid by the taxpayers. It is not a win for anyone in those instances. What we do every time is follow the law, follow board policy, and follow established procedures. I even asked for a list of books that the individual believes are the most concerning so we could start the review process on those first. I've yet to receive that list. When library material is formally challenged, the book is immediately made unavailable to all students. That step is intentional and designed to protect the integrity of the review process while the challenge is being considered. However, the process itself must be followed. This includes submitting the challenge on the required forms and fully answering the questions so the review committee has the information necessary to do its work responsibly and fairly. Let me also be clear on this point. If a book is determined to be inappropriate, it should absolutely be removed. That is not in dispute, but that determination cannot rest on the opinion of a single individual, whether that individual is a parent, a community member, an employee, or even the superintendent. It must be the result of a thoughtful, structured review process that applies the same standards consistently and lawfully for every concern raised. Those procedures were explained in detail in a nearly 45-minute conversation. Our actions then and now remain grounded in law, policy, and professionalism. What is concerning, however, is how narratives like this quickly move beyond process and shift towards attacking the people who serve our students. I am comfortable being blamed or criticized if it means our educators are not the ones bearing the weight of false or harmful accusations. That is part of my responsibility as the superintendent. What I'm not comfortable with is seeing educators who have dedicated their careers to serving our students being mischaracterized or attacked. Disagreement is a part of healthy society. Questions and dialogue are appropriate and welcomed, but vilifying public educators to score political points come at a real cost. I want our staff to hear this clearly. You are valued, you are respected, and you have my full support. I see the work you do, I know the care you bring to the students and families every day, and I will continue to stand up for you so that you can focus on what matters most, educating and supporting students. To our community, I ask that we engage one another with facts, respect, and a shared commitment to student success. Our students are watching how we handle disagreement. Let's model the professionalism and civility we expect of them. Thank you.
Thank you. That was our final speaker for audience with the board. We now move on to closed session. The board will adjourn into closed session pursuant to the following sections of the Texas Open Meetings Act. A, pursuant to Texas Government Code, Section 551.071, 551.074, 551.129, consultation with legal counsel, including possible telephone consultation with legal counsel as necessary, to address legal concerns, implications, and answer any legal questions regarding posted agenda items. B, pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.074, discuss personnel matters, including appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of an employee. C, pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.072, discuss the sale, purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. And D, pursuant to Texas Government Code Sections 551.0821, deliberation regarding public school student. It is 6:32 p.m. Coming back to open session at 7:13 p.m. With no action. All right, moving on to number 5, pledges to the United States flag and Texas flag, followed by a moment of silence. To lead us, we have Avery, whose name I always mispronounce, but I'm going to give it Avery Janchek. Janachek. I was close.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, and indivisible.
Now we'll have our moment of silence. Thank you. Moving on to recognition and campus presentations. First up is our superintendent reports.
Board, lots of great things happening across the district right now. A couple of quick things for our parents. If you are unaware, all of our schools are starting to implement Parent Square this semester. So now is the time to download that free app and log in to confirm your parent account. This will be our one-stop shop for communication with families. That was feedback we received from our community, and we're trying to make sure that we implement that. For our community as a whole, we hope that you'll join us for a legendary reveal tomorrow at Matador Legends Ballpark. We're going to unveil our new squirrel and the signs bearing the names of our batting cages at 5:30 p.m. We hope that you can join us there. If you would like, tickets are available for the Seguin Education Foundation's Mardi Gras Auction and Gala on February 12th. This event supports the Education Foundation grants that are awarded to teachers and staff each year. If you are interested, you can find the link to buy tickets on the SEF Facebook page. From an academic standpoint, thank you to our incoming freshmen and their families and our middle school and high school staff for their work on last week's Chart Your Course events. These events help set our students up for success when they arrive at Seguin High School later this year and next year. We have 28 students who have completed their graduation requirements and earned 438 credits so far this year at Mercer Bloomberg Learning Center. I was proud to participate in last month's fall graduation ceremony where we celebrated most of these students and their accomplishments. A hearty congratulations to everyone. Athletics-wise, congratulations to the Seguin High School student athletes Presley Just, Claire Brown, and Kelsey Torres for qualifying for the USA Powerlifting Nationals. They are the first Matadors to do so in school history. Thank you to everyone who turned out to cheer for Damian Garcia and Corey Daly in the San Antonio Sports All-Star Game and for Corey in the Navy All-American Bowl. Congratulations to Damian and Corey for earning the opportunity to represent Seguin so well. We're also proud of Corey and Elliott Weaver for being named to the first team All-District, as well as the 22 Matador football players who were named Academic All-District this year. Finally, best of luck to our baseball and softball teams who are getting ready to start their seasons. We hope everyone will continue to support our other sports team as they move forward with their seasons. CTE-wise, Seguin High School seniors Wesley Combe and Bella Luna Garcia took first and second place at the Universal Tech Institute's Auto Mechanics competition earlier this month. Congratulations to Wesley and Bella on a job well done. We also have 8 NJROTC cadets who have competed at the Texas Area 18 NJROTC Marksmanship Championship. Congratulations to those students. Fine arts, lots of things happening. Thank you to our families and community for supporting our choirs at Friday night's MLK concert. It was a wonderful evening of music that brought our entire district and community together. The AJB Toro Theater won first place at the Texas Tiny Towns One-Act Play Competition and competed again over the weekend at Judson UIL One-Act Play Competition, where they brought home several awards, including 2 All-Star Actors, Best Performer, Best Overall Tech Crew, and first place. Congratulations to the Seguin High School cheerleaders for competing at UIL State Competition in Fort Worth last week. We had a phenomenal turnout to send them off as well. Thanks to everyone who came out to cheer them on. Our fine arts departments are being recognized on the state level. Seguin ISD is home to a Texas Thespians premier community for theater education. We received news of this prestigious honor just last week, which places our theater department in the top 2% of Texas school districts for theater education. Congratulations to Aubrey Pena from Seguin High School for being selected for the Texas Art Educations Association Youth Art Month Spring Exhibition. That's a mouthful right there. Aubrey's artwork will be up for consideration for the Governor's Gallery later this year. And congratulations to our Seguin High School band leadership. Our head band director, Mr. David Witherspoon, was named the Seguin Gazette's Best of the Best Teacher. And then another quick note, Assistant Director Lane Palmer is now Dr. Palmer, having completed his doctoral program in educational leadership. And then board, something that I don't get to do too often, but tonight I want to take a moment to say thank you to you for serving on a school board. It's not easy work. It requires time, courage, thoughtful decision-making, and a deep commitment to doing what is best for students, and that's often without recognition. As board members, you give countless hours to listening, learning, and leading, always with our students, staff, and community at the center of your work. On behalf of our students, staff, and families, thank you for your service, your leadership, and your dedication to Seguin ISD. We are truly grateful. I hope that Board Appreciation Month is fruitful for you. The kids, the departments did a phenomenal job, and we just want to say thank you for everything that you do. So thank you, Board.
Thank you. All right, next up are board member reports. Start with Mr. Bright.
All right, good evening. Lots of great stuff happened in December. Dr. Lee highlighted a whole lot of things. I personally was invited to work with our J. Rotzi marksmanship team right before the state competition. That was really great to see. Also got to see them use our new marksmanship trainer that we have at the high school, and that was fantastic to see them using that right away. Big shout out to Dr. Duffick and his staff over there at MBLC. That graduation ceremony on the fall for the fall graduation was really cool. It was something a little bit different than we've seen over there, and I think it really spoke a lot to celebrating those students and their achievement of their graduating. All of the fantastic fine arts holiday performances made it to almost all of them. Just a few I didn't, but there's great to see all the schools coming together for that. Probably one of the funnest things I saw happen in the school district was the central office sip and stroll, which was pretty awesome. All the departments did an amazing job. There's definitely a spirit of competition here in central office, so that was really cool. And then I just want to say I really appreciate hearing central office staff getting out there and supporting our campuses through the district improvement plan that was discussed in November's meeting. I really appreciate everybody's hard work getting out there and trying to turning things around for us.
For me, lots of good highlights in the last couple of months, but the Cocoa Bar at the high school, I think, would have to be the highlight. One, it was great to serve with various departments in the district and getting to know some of the staff members who are also there serving hot cocoa to the kids. I was amazed at how happy the kids were and how just their manners and just the thank you. Again, was so great to see that hands-on right there. And then the second part of that was actually Mr. Areola stood next to me and he handed out marshmallows while I did napkins. That's what I got charged with. But it was so fun to see the number of kids. Mr. Areola used to be at AJB, and so some of those students were now at the high school. And to see their faces light up as soon as they recognized him was just such a good reminder to me about how much educators really mean to kids. And years later, that still brings that happiness.
I just have a couple of items. We attended the MLK choir at the PAC Center, and it was awesome. It was for the first time, I believe, that they had all the elementary schools, middle schools, and high school on stage at the very end. And what impressed me the most is that they were able to practice on their own, but that was the first time they actually performed all together, and it was a great performance. They had the opportunity in late December to visit a couple of sites, thanks to construction sites, Tank Troy and Bow, for walking me through the Ag Center and also the McQueenie Center. McQueenie Elementary School, and everything seems to be coming along great. That's all I have.
Well, Jack stole my thunder. One of the things I wanted to highlight was the AJB one act play and their success that they've had in their two recent competitions. I got to go to both those shows, and I was very impressed with the show that those kids put on. They do a critique after that's over with, and each one of the judges gives a critique to the school. And on their first competition at Steel, the gentleman came up and he said, I have to tell all you kids, bravo, #1. And then he said, in my entire career of acting, as a student, as a teacher, as a professor, that is one of the top quality one-act plays, high school top quality I've ever seen. And so I was very impressed with the kids over there and what they put together, and of course their Miss Ibarra and Mr. Paul that make all that happen for them. Anyways, they will be putting on that show. They don't have a date yet, but look out for it because I've seen a lot of one-act plays, and it is a really, really good show. A couple other things. I enjoyed the shack run out at the Outdoor Learning Center that they did, even though the weather kind of dampened it. It was still a great thing put on by Ace and the shack committee out there, so give those guys props. And then I really enjoyed the transportation facility grand opening that we did. That was really great to see that project get finalized and come to fruition. Other than that, that's about all I got.
Well, everyone's pretty much stole the thunder that I was going to bring tonight, but not really. Rarely do I bring the thunder. But I really enjoyed the MLK concert the other night at the PAC Center. And you're right. It was very special at the end. They all came together and sang a song together. Not that I haven't seen that before, but it's just so special when that happens. And one thing I'll bring up, because nobody else did, I got to judge a door decorating contest for Christmas over at AJB, and they did a fantastic job, and it was hard, but it was fantastic. That's all.
I'd like to personally give a shout out to the Theater Arts Department for this wonderful award, and it's a long one. It's Texas Thespians Premier Communities for Theater Education Award. It's so amazing, and I want to thank the Theater Arts Department for all their dedication and work. In December, I did a lot of reading at McQueenie and enjoyed reading to the students there. Of course, William and I are both on the construction committee, and we were down to basically watching the ag building go up in McQueenie. And McQueenie, if you've driven by there, all kinds of things are happening, and you'll see that later when we go over that. But they've got the asphalt out, so when you drive in, you don't have to hurt your car on the big old boulders and so forth. A whole lot easier. But the inside is amazing over there. I had a great time. It's my first time to do the KWD food and toy drive, and I think a lot of y'all did that too. And it was so fun to get out there really early in the morning, and it was kind of cold, but to see the whole community come by down in the square and give things and just stop by and talk, it was awesome. That was my first time. The graduation at MCLB was fantastic. I'm so proud of all of those students and the teachers who helped lead them there. I got to do 2 COCO things. The one at the high school with Jackie in the library, which was so fun. But I did the sip and stroll one, and I was a judge. And I came out on such a sugar high. At the end, I had to go find something to put in my stomach because
Some of us made off the naughty lists.
all right. Just so much sugar, but it was so delicious. Every one of them was yummy. And then right now, I am totally enjoying my work on the Seguin Education Foundation board with Mardi Gras. My part in it is searching for desserts from the community to put in the silent auction. So I'm on a first name basis with all the dessert people in town. That's a pretty sweet place to be. All right, that's it.
Thank you. I went to a lot of the same things as y'all, choir concerts and band concerts, add middle school basketball games to that. The food and toy drive, the parade, the sip and stroll, both downtown and here where our kids participated, and the North Pole stroll, MBLC graduation, ribbon cuttings. I think the theme of it all is that our staff is doing a wonderful job supporting our students, and the community is doing a great job supporting us. I saw so many great things, and people come out for our students to make sure that they had all the things that they needed for the holidays and beyond. So we really appreciate the community. We really appreciate our staff, and I just want to say I appreciate my fellow board members. There's a reason we have school board recognition. Most people cannot believe that we don't get paid for this. We do get paid in seeing the best for our students. That's the payment that we get, and I am honored to serve with all of you, and I thank you so much for the time and effort and blood, sweat, and tears you put into serving on the school board. So, thank you. All right. Next up is student staff community recognition. That's with Emily and Dr. Lee.
President Crittenden, Dr. Lee, trustees, we are going to do things a little differently this month and moving forward in terms of our Students of the Month. We thought it might be more powerful if you hear from the students themselves and see the moment that they're actually surprised with finding out that they've received this award rather than listening to me. So you'll still get to meet them, but give us just a moment. Jeff, we are ready to go.
I am Amy Janacek. I am the elementary student of the month.
Every month we get to recognize students for being pretty amazing. We look for people who are respectful, who are resourceful, who are ready. Give me a big cheer for our elementary student of the month, Avery Janacek. Come on up.
Avery's just an extraordinary student all around. She's an all-A honor roll student. She has perfect attendance. She's always willing to help teachers and students, regardless of what grade level across the campus. She is responsible. She is always respectful. She's just a natural leader, and that's what makes her really special.
I think I am very respectful and I have a good leadership. Maybe like a teacher.
I'm Sergio Sanchez, and I'm the secondary student of the month.
Today we're going to recognize somebody in this room for being an outstanding individual. What we look for is we look for people who have certain traits that we think are important for you as you leave Seguin ISD and graduate. And somebody who's respectful, resourceful. Most importantly, we look for someone who's ready.
So it is just a delight to be around. He just comes in every day and works hard. Just talk about resilience and overcomes so many of the obstacles of life. He's going to be one of the youngest graduates that we have at the university. Just comes in daily, works hard, and is a friend to everybody and really cares.
And help me congratulate our secondary student of the month, Sergio Sanchez. Congratulations, young man. Proud of you. Proud of you.
The teachers here, they make you feel love and be there with you throughout the whole way, and they just help you every day. Come here, like, you feel welcome in being here. But we're just not a school, we're like a family here, and they just want to help us get out of here to start a career. I want to go to barber school, and I want to open up barber schools and become a barber myself.
On that note, now it's your turn to meet them. Sorry, I forgot about that. It's the fun part. So on that note, I am honored to welcome our elementary student of the month, Avery Janacek from Kennecke Elementary. Come on. So we're gonna have you come over here, okay? Mom and Dad, if y'all want to come up, we can take pictures really quick. Please welcome our secondary student of the month, Sergio Sanchez from Mercer Blumberg Learning Center. Congratulations to both Avery and Sergio, and now I'm going to hand things over to Dr. Lee for our Apple Award.
Board, tonight you're going to get to hear about the newly proposed mission, vision, and values for Seguin ISD. And I think it's important to note that these are not just words on a page for us. They guide how we view our work and how we recognize the students and staff who make Seguin such a special place. Those values include integrity, high expectations, collaboration, and putting students first always. I'm proud to share that this month's Superintendent Apple Award recipient lives these values every single day. At Seguin ISD, we believe that every role matters. We want to recognize people who take pride in their work and who are deeply committed to what they do, because every member of our team plays a vital role in our success. A coworker shared this about our award recipient. She genuinely loves what she does, and it shows in everything she touches. She goes above and beyond in little ways that make a difference. For more than 6 years, she has been dedicated to keeping our schools safe, welcoming, and filled with pride for both students and staff. For most of that time, she's been a leader at Weiner, where she is known for decorating hallways and a custodian closet doors, and for placing encouraging messages in student restrooms. Those small touches make a big impact. Her work does not go unnoticed. Over winter break, while many were enjoying time with family, several staff members were still on campus preparing our schools for the new semester. When she shared photos of her work, messages of gratitude poured in from teachers and staff, including, "We appreciate everything you do to keep our spaces beautiful, and thank you for taking care of not just the building, but all of us." Her principal, Ms. Way, shared that she meets every challenge or surprise with a smile and a positive attitude, adding, "I can't think of anyone more deserving of the Superintendent's Apple Award." It is truly my honor to recognize our Superintendent's Apple Award recipient for January, Ms. Cheryl Cook.
Surprise. It is pretty good. It is.
They're pretty good at coming up with reasons so that it isn't surprising.
And family, if y'all would like to come up for a photo as well.
All right. Congratulations to all our award winners. Next is our campus highlights. Are you?
I do. President Crittenden, fellow trustees, I am honored to introduce this month's campus highlight presentation from Kinnicky Elementary. More than 500 students attend Kinnicky in kindergarten through 5th grade. Kinnicky Principal Leslie Mahaffey and her staff will share an overview of the school's unique initiatives, including Junior FFA, the Outdoor Learning Initiative, and the effort to drive powerful outcomes for students and teachers. Mrs. Mahaffey, the floor is yours.
Thank you.
You would almost think that sounded like a radio advertisement.
Yeah, she was good. Thank you. I'm Leslie Mahaffey, for anyone who doesn't know, and you gave our little introduction. I'm going to introduce the rest of my team that I brought with me tonight. I have Mrs. Amanda Santos, my assistant principal, Skylar Lofton, our high school, 5th grade. No, you can't transfer. Our 5th grade science teacher, and then Sara Dominguez, our instructional coach. All right, so we thought we would start by sharing a little bit about Kinnicky, because some of you know us well, and some of you are just getting to know us still. We're a dual language campus, meaning about 40% of our classrooms are dual language classrooms. And dual language is very different than ESL or English as a second language, because our kids we run on a language allocation program, and we challenge our kids to leave 5th grade as bilingual and biliterate students with a high school credit. At one point, we had as many as 14% of our students as new arrivals to the country. Our campus has a really high teacher retention rate. We only had 2 people who were brand new to the district last year. Most of our teachers are transfers that want to come to Kinnicky, or what we're particularly proud of, we have quite a few people who have been paraprofessionals in the district and worked through, and now they're teachers with us, so we're particularly proud of that. We also are very proud of the fact that at our campus alone, we have 340 years of teaching experience at Kinnicky. So we retain our people. We're very proud of the commitment that our staff has to our campus and our students, and we feel like that continuity gives a sense of security to all stakeholders, and it's part of what makes Kinnicky extra special. Another thing that makes us special, we truly are committed to providing to all of our students what we would want for our own children. And that's evidence in that more than 33 of our employees have had kids at Kinnicky, or have kids at Kinnicky now, or have been a Kinnicky kid themselves. We have about 5 teachers per grade level. We're a big campus. We're excited about all of the growth. So that's just a little bit about us.
Hello, my name is Skylar Lofton. I'm not the high school teacher. I'm actually a 5th grade science teacher. And I'm here to present to you a little bit about our Junior FFA program. These are some of the speaking points that I'm going to be talking about today, but I'm really going to highlight our public speaking initiative that came about this year. So I'm going to bring this down just a tad. Over the past 3 years, my work with Junior FFA circled around one central idea, and that was developing leadership and career readiness in students. I believe from the beginning that Junior FFA is way more than just showing animals. It's about leadership, responsibility, opportunities, and commitment. To support this goal, I started a public speaking club that gave students a safe, structured environment to practice these skills regularly. One of our most impactful initiatives has been our public speaking contest, where students memorized and recited a creed. The focus wasn't just memorization, though, but delivery of this creed, including strong projection, purposeful hand movements, clear pacing, and engaging the audience. Students learned how to command attention, control nerves, and communicate with intention, which are skills that carry far beyond Kinnicky Elementary. I plan to continue this club and engage more involvement throughout the district. That's the hope, fingers crossed. Alongside public speaking, I've also worked to expand leadership and career readiness through additional clubs like photography, which is led by Mrs. Santos over here, and our floral design club. These clubs were intentionally created to expose students to real-world job-like opportunities. Students learned industry-relevant skills, responsibility, time management, and creative problem solving, all while preparing for our local youth show, which is actually happening this week. These experiences help students see how their interests can translate into future careers. Each year, the programs have become stronger, more refined, and more student-driven. Participation in junior FFA has significantly increased, student confidence has grown, and the quality of performance and engagement continues to improve. As students gain skills, the hope is that they will begin to mentor others. So with that all being said, this work continues to evolve, but the foundation remains the same. It's empowering students with confidence, skills, and experience they need to be successful far beyond the classroom. And on a personal note, just watching this program grow and seeing students step into leadership roles has been one of the most rewarding parts of my teaching career, and it continues to get better each year. So, thank you.
We are so proud to share this video with audio of our two winners. We selected a Spanish Creed winner and an English winner. We developed our own creed, our own Kinnicky Champions Creed, which was made up from how to be a Matador, what it means to be a Matador nation. And we competed our first annual creed contest with our guest judge, judging from the Seguin High School FFA and our own Dr. Lee. We would like to share this little presentation with a presentation. You can hear our winners.
Yo creo que un matador debe dirigir con gran valor, fortaleza y respeto. Un verdadero matador enfrenta los desafíos con dignidad y nunca se rinde ante el trabajo y su responsabilidad. Matador Nation, we are stronger when we work together. We lift each other up, celebrate our differences, and support one another through every success and struggle. I believe our unity is what makes us powerful, and together we create a community where everyone belongs. Por ser mejor que ayer. Yo creo que a través de la dedicación, el trabajo en equipo y la perseverancia, honoramos el significado de ser parte de la nación matador.
That was precious, right? Okay, so we also wanted to circle back to what we shared with you last time we presented. We talked about the Outdoor Learning Initiative that we had started at Kinnicky. In the spring of 24, we worked with Ms. Lyons and Mr. Silvius and proposed a plan that would allow every single one of our 3rd through 5th grade students to visit the Outdoor Learning Center about once a unit or around once a month to participate in cross-curricular learning opportunities and basically just have school in a different setting. They supported us in this effort, and it has been a great success and part of what makes Kinnicky such a special place for students and teachers. One of our teacher leaders, Mrs. Stephanie DeBose, has been the lead and basically run with this idea. She has partnered with outside organizations and even planned events beyond the Outdoor Learning Center, such as taking our students to the Canyon Lake Gorge. And the results are there for both our students and teachers. Our growth rates were high, with 60% of our 3rd graders demonstrating growth that met the threshold for the teacher to be TIA eligible. 72% of our 4th graders met that threshold for growth, and 57% of our 5th graders. It's also exciting to see the language development of our EBs, or our emergent bilingual students, as these experiences outdoors provide opportunities for rigorous, academic, vocabulary-rich conversation. And students are so motivated because there's just something about the setting and getting them outdoors that builds confidence and makes them take risks and challenge themselves to use language in a way we just don't see in a traditional classroom.
And that's not all. 4 of our 5th grade teachers had TIA qualifying growth data last year. All 5 of our 4th grade teachers had TIA qualifying data last year, and we have 9 TIA teachers this year. Up next, you'll see a little bit about our attendance. We hold high expectations for our students, not only academically, but in their character, behavior, and effort. Through strong relationships with our teachers, we work collaboratively to support every student's growth and success. We intentionally create events and opportunities, such as our Winter Wonderland PBIS incentive that we held in December, that reinforce the importance of being present at school and fully engaged in class. just a couple of highlights to earn the opportunity to attend our Winter Wonderland event. Students could only have one excused absence, one early sign out, and no office visits or office referrals. When we look at our data, some of those highlights, we had our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade levels have 6%, 7% increase from just November to December.
Thank you. So I just wanted to recap. We wanted to share with you a little bit about all those things, that make us special. So that's why Mrs. Santos talked about the attendance, the behavior, our special programs, and how it all comes together to get kids to come to school, parents to value the experience their kids have at Kinnicky. And anyway, we just wanted to share that. And our final slide here is we see some of our baseball players. We always like to say, once a Kinnicky kid, always a Kinnicky kid. And we know we only have our students for a few years, and we know our end goal is getting them ready for a bright future. We think it's incredibly important to partner with our middle schools and the high schools so students can see what the future holds for them. We love having the FFA members visit. We love having readers come from Barnes. We love welcoming our athletes to do things like greet students in the car line and read to our students. We work hard to make sure our students see that our vision for them is to be exceptional students who become exceptional citizens. And everything we do is driven by that mission to cultivate, inspire, and empower them to grow and learn. And we want them to carry that long after they leave Kinnicky. We also believe all of this applies to our entire campus. It's wonderful to see how Mrs. DuBose has run with Outdoor Learning Initiative, how Ms. Lofton has grown the Junior FFA and brought other leaders in to lead clubs, how Mrs. Santos has led all our stakeholders to see the value of attendance and high expectations for character, and how this Kinnicky kid is now our instructional coach. All of this is part of what makes Kinnicky great. We thank you for letting us share about our school tonight, and we thank you for all that you all do to support us every single day. We really do appreciate it. Are there any questions for us?
Looks great. All right, thank you, Mrs. Mahaffey and everybody from Kinnicky. We are going to change up one item. We're going to bring forward 9A, the action item on the strategic plan, possible action to approve Seguin ISD strategic plan.
Board, a couple of quick things. As you're aware, for about the past 3 months, we've conducted comprehensive strategic planning sessions. Throughout that work, we've developed a multi-year strategic plan with the input and support of 2 separate teams, a design team made up of about 37 individuals and an action planning team made up of 33. The group included parents, students, community members, teachers, staff, and administrators, and ultimately resulted in a multi-year strategic plan and new mission and vision statements, as well as a portrait of a graduate. I'm excited to share Dr. Karen Halachka, who, for those of you that were able to participate in some of those sessions, was our facilitator for the strategic plan. She was able to join us tonight to talk a little bit about that process and what resulted in that. And so I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Halachka.
Good evening, Madam President, trustees, and Dr. Lee. I am so excited to be here and share with you this amazing strategic plan that your team put together. It was such a wonderful experience, and I think it's going to make such a profound difference for your district. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's start by talking about the purpose of a strategic plan. I'm going to have you go ahead and slide up to the next slide. He has the PDF instead of, will it? Okay. Oh, yay, look, okay. So the purpose of a strategic plan. First, really successful organizations are the ones that create strategic plans because they know the value of having a strategic plan and how it can be used to really drive an organization forward. So when you create a strategic plan, you do that for several reasons. First of all, it really sets clear objectives for the district. It says this is what we want to achieve as we move forward in the next 3 to 5 years. It aligns your efforts and actions. It makes sure everybody's working towards the same thing, and you don't have people going in different directions. Everybody is targeting the same thing. It generates that forward momentum that you need in a district to achieve success, and it leads to clear accountability. So it makes sure everyone knows what they're being held accountable for in an organization. And then, of course, when it's done well and it's done right, it leads to organizational excellence. And that's really what we're striving for here. So let's talk a little bit about our process and what we went through. You've been provided a comprehensive report, I think it should be in front of you. So you should be able to see that gives you a lot more detail about the process, the outcomes, as well as the next steps. So I'm just going to give you kind of a brief overview this evening so that we're not going through that whole report. But we started with your committee, we started at looking at the current state of your district. And with this, we really dug deep into your data. We looked at performance data, financial data, lots of data, more data than they probably cared to see, but they really dug deep into the data of the district. In addition to that, before they came on to the committee, they did a SWOT analysis. They identified strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So we dug into that data as well to really identify where you are currently as a district. In order to know where you want to go, you have to know where you're starting. And so once we kind of got that figured out, then we move towards now where do we want to be as an organization. That's where we get into that future state. We identified, just like Dr. Lee said, our vision and our graduate profile. We identified what was most important that you prioritize. If you prioritize everything, then obviously nothing gets accomplished. So you had to say, what is most important for us to prioritize in this district over the next 3 to 5 years? And then really determining what those outcomes need to be. In order to achieve our vision, what are our outcomes? What are we striving to achieve? Then we moved into, okay, so we know where we are, we know where we want to go, so how are we going to get there? That's where the action plans come into play. And so with our group, our action teams, they created key actions that are really identified what it is specifically that you guys are going to need to do as a district in order to achieve those performance objectives. And we will talk a little bit more about that as we go on through the presentation. What was our timeline? Well, we started with Dr. Lee early in August. We started doing some initial planning, kind of talking about how this process would work and how it was going to be customized for your district. In October, we had the first 2 days of our design team training, and then we continued that work on into November. We had our 4th day with your action teams, and that's really where they created those action plans. Then in December, we worked to create your scorecard. So your scorecard, we'll talk about that here in a little bit, but it really is how you are going to measure your progress here in the district. And we created the deployment plan. How are you going to deploy this strategic plan to the stakeholders? And then in January, we finished up with the monitoring plan. How are you going to monitor this work? And now we're at the point of board approval. Once you have approved the vision and the objectives, then we will move towards deployment, hopefully in February. That's kind of that's the timeline for now. So let's talk briefly just for a second about who all is involved in this work. As Dr. Lee said, we started with your design team. They are the ones that created what we call the MMVV, the mission, motto, vision, and values. In addition to that, they developed your graduate profile, the priorities, and the performance objectives. And then we moved into your action teams. We took the priorities that the design team developed, and we created action teams for each of the priorities. And they are the ones that created the key actions and the scorecard measures that that will get you moving forward. That's where the momentum comes in. Altogether, you had about 58 stakeholders that were involved in this work, so you had a very large cross-section of your community that participated, and so I feel like we really got a really clear picture about what everyone was hoping to see in this plan as we move forward. We are now at the phase where your role comes into play, and your role is dictated by policy. So under AE Legal, it states that the board is responsible for adopting a vision as well as performance objectives for the district and the superintendent. So that will be your role in this work. And then Dr. Lee, after you have approved it, it is his job to then deploy the strategic plan, monitor, adjust as needed, and make sure he keeps you informed of the progress. So I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the core statements that the team came up with. This is, again, that MMVV that we talk about. The motto is kind of like the tagline for the district, and the team came up with Building Futures Together. And the tagline kind of gives that overarching theme that you'll see throughout the mission, the vision, and the values. The mission is your why. This is your purpose as an organization. Every day, this is what drives you. And they said it's building relationships, inspiring success, and empowering all. Very powerful. And then your vision, where the team wants to see you in 3 to 5 years, is Seguin ISD, a community dedicated to shaping brighter futures through connection, inspiration, and creativity. Then your values, these are those principles that you want to see in the words, actions, and attitudes of every employee in this organization. And the values are really those behaviors that we should see each and every day. I won't read all those to you. So then you will see how we put all of this on what we call a plan on a page. The plan on the page and the graduate profile, which you'll see next, is going to be something that I would hope you would see in every office, every classroom, every building within the district. And you should look for that. As a board, when you go to visit, I would encourage you to really look to see that these are posted so that everybody is reminded routinely about the direction you're going as an organization. The graduate profile, Dr. Lee has already mentioned this several times this evening. You heard him say respectful, resourceful, and ready several times when he was talking about your student award winners. And that is because that's part of your graduate profile. These are the qualities and characteristics you want to see as each student walks out of your walks across that stage, gets that diploma, and off into their life. You want them to have these characteristics that they are carrying with them each and every day. I'm going to quickly walk through each of the priorities and the objectives, and the reason I'm going to talk through these is because they are the objectives are something you do have to adopt, and so I'm not going to read them word for word, but I'm going to give you just a quick overview. Priority 1 of the strategic plan is challenging and meaningful learning experiences. The objectives here are, of course, going to focus on student performance, looking at your STAR performance, as well as your accountability ratings, making sure that your campuses are getting up to those higher levels in regards to the accountability system, and then addressing your 4-year graduation rate. In priority 2, you have 3 objectives for life-ready students, focusing on college readiness, career and military readiness, as well as making sure students are engaged through your co-curricular and extracurricular activities, as well as your CTE programs. Under priority 3, positive community culture, this is where you start addressing your family satisfaction of school communication, making sure families feel communicated with, making sure your students feel cared about here at school, that staff satisfaction, making sure your employees feel appreciated here in Seguin ISD, and of course, in continuing to increase your community partnerships. Priority 4, growth-minded personnel. You are going to focus on your teacher retention, your teacher incentive allotment designations, as well as decreasing the fill time for full-time positions, making sure that you are quickly getting people on board and so that they don't go off to another district nearby. And then priority 5, strategic operational stewardship. There are 4 objectives here, focusing on, of course, your deficit budget, the average age of the technology that you have in your classrooms, student enrollment, as well as student attendance. So with the objectives in place, the key actions, you will not see a ton of key actions. That's because we strategically focus on some very big key actions that are going to yield the greatest results for the district. They do not include every single step you will need to take in order to achieve your objectives, but they are the ones that are going to yield the biggest results. And so those are the ones that are listed here on your plan. That starts on page 11 if you're looking through the report, so you can see all those key actions. And they are going to be measured routinely through your scorecard. You'll see scorecard measures there. The scorecard is something that the district will look at every month. Some measures will be looked at every quarter, some will be every month, some will be several times a year. But the scorecard is really for the purpose of making sure that you are staying on track with these key actions and that you are analyzing the work, making adjustments if needed to ensure that your objectives are achieved. So where do we go from here? So what are our next steps? It starts with initiating the deployment plan. So once you have approved the vision and the objectives, then Dr. Lee will initiate the deployment plan. You do have a copy of that deployment plan. It's in the back of your report. You can see it's quite lengthy. So deployment isn't something that takes place in a month. It is something that takes place over a year. And so, because we want to get it fully embedded into the hearts and work of the organization. We will then make sure that it's communicated, your plan is communicated to all internal and external stakeholders so they are well informed. And then we'll start making connections to your strategic plan through your campus improvement plans, your district improvement plans, your budgeting process, as well as your evaluation. So Dr. Lee will, in order to make sure the strategic plan is moving forward, he will embed some of the strategic actions into the evaluation instruments of key leaders in the organization so that it ensures that that work is driving everything that they do. And then finally, you will start collecting and reporting on your scorecard data. That's something that Dr. Lee will do with the board on a regular basis and of course with the staff as well. So with that in mind, AE Legal, this is your policy. It states that a board shall adopt a vision statement and comprehensive goals for the district and superintendent. So I have provided you a good solid overview of your plan. So before I turn it over to Dr. Lee to make the recommendation to you, I was going to pause here and see if you have any questions for me regarding the process or the plan.
I just wanted to add a comment. I was able to attend the first 2 days. The thing that stuck out to me the most, actually, thinking about it 3 months later, is how important it was to have the students there. Yes. The students that were selected and came had such an interesting perspective that was so different than the adults. And so I love how this plan really does incorporate the student perspective into it. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that as I think it's a very student kind of driven plan. With some of these, the students really were the driving factors.
Yes.
And very vocal about this is what matters. So
They
I just want to mention that.
And not every district includes students in this process. So that is something that really does make Seguin ISD special, is they really do value, and Dr. Lee values that voice of the students. And so, yes, it was a very powerful part of the process. So thank you for mentioning that, Lisa.
I just wanted to thank you for your work as well in coming to Seguin. I knew when I first met you at Tassa Tasby at the convention, I was like, I am so glad that she is going to be working with us because I could tell that it would be special. So thank you.
Oh, Thank you so much. It
And,
is my privilege.
I'm just going to piggyback on that because I only got to be there the first day, but I was amazed at how you got things to move on when there wasn't consensus, and you were just going, girl. I mean, I've been to a lot of things like that just get out of hand, and you had everything in the palm of your hand going the right way, and I was totally impressed.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a great group. Any other questions? Okay. So with that, thank you so much for giving me the privilege and opportunity to work with this team. It really, truly was an honor, and I just hope that I can continue this partnership with your district for many years to come, because I kind of like it here. So with that, Dr. Lee, I'll turn it back over to you to make the recommendation to the board.
Thank you, Dr. Lachka. Board, as you can see, very comprehensive plan. Several of you were able to take part in some of that work as it happened. We're excited to get this work off the ground, to finally get it in movement, and look forward to that deployment plan and making this part of it. We've been subtly working with communications in the back there. We've been subtly releasing tiny parts of this as we go. If you've paid attention to social media, you realize that we've embedded little pieces here and there without coming out fully and saying this is kind of where we're going with things, and we've been doing that intentionally. But overall, I'm very excited about this work, very thankful to the people who were part of it. I know that all of those people spent considerable time here to put in their thoughts and their opinions to be able to make this what it is. And sometimes strategic planning is difficult for a superintendent. My job is to sit there and not necessarily spearhead it or steer it all the time, but to sit back and listen. And that can be challenging for folks in positions like being a superintendent who's so used to being able to say, well, this is what I think we should do and why we should do it. And this was one of those that I think this plan fully encapsulates our district, what our folks believe, what our employees believe, what our students believe, our community, our parents. And so that's why I'm so thankful that we have this in plan. And the recommendation to you, board, is that you approve the district vision and performance objectives as presented.
I move that we approve the strategic plan 2026, 2023, 2031 as presented.
Second.
All right, I have a motion from Mr. Bright and a second from Ms. Duncan. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hands. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes 7-0. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Lachka.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, that's right.
So that we didn't cause our students of the month, et cetera, to be here too long, we came out of closed session and we just had a couple more items. So what we'll do now is take a few minutes to go to the bathroom, get a drink of water. We'll go back into a little bit of a closed session, and then we'll come out and continue with the agenda. It's 8:12. we're coming back from closed session at 8:49 p.m. with no further action. Moving on to report and information items. The first one is 7A. Mr. Newman.
Good evening. I have for informational items, I have professional hires and resignations.
Do any board members have questions on any of these?
I just had a general question on the list that's on the shared drive. Is that one updated? I think it's in on there by week, as far as where the vacancies are, what schools. Okay.
Yes, it is, but we're working on adding transportation and maintenance to that list as well, so that's not included.
Okay, thank you.
Just had a general human resource question. So in the middle of the year like this, when people leave, do we do exit interviews or do we offer them exit interviews?
So currently we're working on processes to improve our exit interviews, but the exit interviews are a survey at this point in time, and we plan to make that more live, especially in the middle of the year.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to 7B, business services. Ms. Banks, and I just want to point out, if people didn't notice, we have the agenda structured a little differently now. Each letter is a department, so that there's not as much up and down for our department. So this one is a big chunk of Ms. Banks.
Good evening, President Crittenden, Dr. Lee, and Board of Trustees. Our first item is a construction update, so I'm going to let Troy start that update, and then I'll finish with the financials.
Good evening, trustees, President Crittenden, and Dr. Lee. Hope y'all actually had a good vacation time. Holidays, it was pretty good for me. Got some rest, but I'm gonna bring some good news to this. Move forward with this. There we go. So as last time when we met, we had these 4 projects. I'm proud to report that the transportation is complete. As far as the work, we still are doing the documents and we have the closeouts coming in. Barnes Middle School also complete, although there are a few small items on the punch list that they still have to do, but for the purpose of the financials and everything, that is complete, and we are working on the closeouts. And then Ag Science Facility in McQueenie, you'll see where we are with those as we move through this slideshow. So transportation, as I said, is 100% complete. The warranty period has begun. We had the ribbon cutting ceremony on December 8th. All inspections have passed. Mostly it was ADA and a few others. And the final closeout documents will be turned in by the end of this month. That's what we're shooting for. Here's the ribbon cutting photo for those who weren't there. And I just wanted to go over a few slides to show, the work that was done, even though we presented last time. We had the bus area, the office area on the left. To the right, you see the large conference room, which is next to Faya's office for her. And then, of course, the asphalt with the parking area and the restriping, and then you see the trees that were added as well. I think it all looked great. To the left is another conference room, a smaller one, and to the right is just a partial picture of the room where they can have large conferences, or they also use it to eat in for their lunch. Barnes Middle School, original contract is 100% complete. The date of substantial completion was October 28th. The contractor has minimal number of punch list items to finish, and the contractor will have all closeout documents turned in by mid-February. This one will take a little longer as it was a larger project. The exterior security fence and cameras are scheduled to be installed and completed by mid-March. This is part of the safety and security package. It was not part of the original contract we did with them. So this is why it's occurring afterwards. We anticipate that mid-March is a good date to have everything completed. Again, these are some of the pictures that we've had before the entry and then going out. The library is on the left. Then we have the cafetorium on the right, the flooring, the new tables, and of course the new stage back in the back. This is a typical area, hallway area. They all look about similar to this, maybe a little bit different in the pattern. I think it turned out great. And of course, these are our outdoor learning areas. The one on the left is closest to the cafeteria. The one on the right is on the other side of the school. It seemed to be huge. The kids love them. The teachers love them. In fact, we were at the one on the left today, and the kids had it where the chalk, it was all over the place. So they really like it. The Ag Science facility is approximately 85% complete. The large building is approximately 90% complete. And the contractor still needs to install individual heaters, lockers, and panels for the pens. The poultry building is approximately 90% complete. The wire mesh still needs to be installed as well as shelving. Actually, though, when I did this was about a week ago, and the shelving and everything is in as of today when we walked it. Items that are still needed include the finish out of the pump room, asphalt for the driveway and the parking area. We're going to have about 30 spaces. The goat walker, we have the electrical and the pad installed when we were out there today, so that should be up in about a week or two. The cattle and lamb panels at each pen, they're not in. There was an issue with the company that was installing them or creating them for us. When they tried to galvanize them, it would stick, so they're having to go back and look at redoing some things. The lockers and the earthwork around the backside of the building also are a few of the items that need to be done. The locker pad is there. They just need the lockers to come in and it'll install. So on this picture, if you look to the left right here, this is the main barn. This is where you're going to have hogs, steers, lamb, sheep. There's also the restroom is inside of there, as well as storage area and lockers for the kids to keep their feet and everything. The next one right here this is the poultry barn. On this half of it is where the turkeys will be held, and on this side is where the broilers will be. And then this small building is our pump house, which is connected to our 162,000-gallon tank, which, like I said last time, was required by the fire marshal because the water supply out there was not enough for them to move forward unless we gave them a higher capacity. This is the inside of the larger one. What you're looking at is, here is the steer. So you have their pens here, back here, and more over here. So we're waiting on those metal pins that go around here. They're about 1.25 inches steel, so they're heavy duty. And I will find out this Friday, when exactly they'll be in. Again, this is a before and after. This is one I showed you back in October. Now you see the tank is up. It is actually full of water, ready to go. This right here is the broiler pen that I was telling you about. They have the mesh, and along here they have the shelving up for them. They also have the panels across here, which is the gates that you can raise to enter or let the broilers out. On the other side of this wall is where the turkeys are. This is, I wanted to show you the outside of the main building here. You'll see these louvers. It was asked if they are lockable. They are lockable because I know that was a concern. So when you close them, there is a mechanism in there where you can lock it so nobody can open it. And of course, you see the sidewalk going down. As I told you about the goat walker, it is about right here in this area where it will be located. More pictures of the main barn. Right here, just to show you, they've got all the painting in, they've installed lights, we've got gas lines, electric lines, and everything. Right here in this section, this is where the sheep and the goats will go. These are approximately 22 feet long. If we need to, we can put them in half, and we can still have one goat or lamb here and one here, or if we only have 11, then they can use the entire pit. This area right here up here is for storage, as well as this area down here. And when you get over here, you have the restrooms for the boys, the girls, There's an office also located right up from there. On to McQueenie. So McQueenie is approximately 85% complete, expected substantial completion to be early March of 26. The flooring is approximately 85% complete. Interior walls approximately 85% complete. And when I say interior walls, I should mention that the walls are in, they're up. It's more of the tile or the finishes on those walls. The kitchen area is approximately 80% complete. Brick and metal facade approximately 99% complete. The admin area approximately 90% complete. The exterior work and canopy approximately 80% complete. And we are working with TxDOT to have the deceleration lane design approved by January 25th of this year or this week. So the photos, this is, you can see, is the kitchen area where the washers, work tables, more mixer, more washers. We had Jacob go there last week, and we walked him through it so he could see it. He was actually pretty happy with the entire place. Didn't have really anything to change. Again, here you have your walk-in freezer and coolers, large, and you can see some of the shelving in here, which is, you can move it, it's not fixed. But we also took Jacob in there, and he thought it was, he really liked it. He thought the amount of space was perfect. This is a common area for the, I believe this is the kindergarten area. As you see, this is the classroom. There's another classroom here and then across on the other side and here. And this is a common space for them to use however they want. This picture is a typical classroom. As you can see, whiteboard's already on, flooring, the lights. But I just want to see they're pretty good sized classrooms. To the left is a science classroom. And this has all the cabinets in, has the science tables. Not quite what you expect in a middle school or high school, but they do have the sinks and everything else. To the right, which is one of my favorites, this is the library. And as you can see, the window and the view it gives you, of course, out here, it's really nice when you actually walk over there and you look at it, but it's very spacious as well. Here you see that the brick, all of the brick is complete and the metal siding is complete. What we're missing is a little bit, right here you see these fins that we talked about last time for the shade. Right here, they're not there, so that's part of the siding that we're missing. Anticipate that to be up in the next week to 10 days. This is again a before and after. So right here is this outdoor learning area. With the steps, you can see where they had it before. Since then, they have poured the concrete so you get a better idea of how it's going to look. All of this area will be, they'll put in the artificial turf, like the football field. So that's what you'll see here after it's groomed and ready for it. This is the admin area, well, part of it anyways, but I just want to give you an idea of the storefront. Restroom back here, there's a restroom here, there's also one over there, men and women's. And this is a photo of the typical restroom that's back. I wanted to show you that the art is up, and their I forget what they have. Their McQueenie has their quote that they have, yeah. And so that's there, and then of course the entryway, and this is when you walk through the front. Actually, these boards are no longer there. It's aluminum storefront with windows, has replaced that recently. To the left, you can see this is the walking track that was put in. It is approximately half a mile in length. And then in between here, we'll have a playground area and more vegetation. To the right, this is the flooring is in for the gym. This floor is in, yes. So the floor is in, and actually when we were there this morning, they started putting the tape down so they could paint the striping in. Now this is going to be a little different, and they're going to have a 4x4 squares on this side, 4x4 squares on this side, and then they're going to have to do the arches for the basketball and everything. So it's going to be quite busy in that basketball. Yes. Yeah, they rolled it out. This is your nurses area. nurse's office back here, restrooms over here. There's actually even a shower, or in case any issues come up, they can clean them. And then, of course, the countertop and lockable storage for the nurse. I wanted to show you this. This is, as you come into the entryway, you go about 100 feet. This is your stair to the second floor. I wanted you to see the lighting and how it looked, and also the panels in the back. And they have started to finish the columns with wrapping them. It is. And that is the last photo. Does anybody have any questions?
You mentioned that AstroTurf in the common area there where the outdoor classroom. How long does that AstroTurf last? I mean, how often does it has to be replaced?
So when we used to install it in the actual football fields, it would last 10 years. But this is a little different because this one should last longer. It won't have as much traffic like
Right.
an actual football field. So the football field one lasts 10 years along with the E-layer that's below it. And that's the lifespan, 8 to 10 years. So this one, as long as they don't, do any chemicals or anything, it should last quite some time. It does well against the UV as well.
I was just curious.
Yeah. The drainage is right there for this one. So all the water runs through, and the turf is permeable, so the water will just run right through it, going through the ground, and then whatever runs off goes right here to the drain system. And it's an 8-inch drain system. So
It's also important, the turf fields, often the reason why you have to replace turf fields isn't because of the turf itself. It's usually the padding underneath. It doesn't pass like an impact test or something like that. And that's usually what causes you to replace football fields and things, rather than this. That's not, that won't have that specialized padding to absorb shock or anything else that you have to do with the football field.
I just had a quick comment on the, I guess eventually the board's going to get a presentation on the emergency system that they're going to have with the pods that each teacher will have in their badge. I think it's one of maybe the second school in the state that has an actual system for emergencies or security.
yes, we're actually meeting with the people that are providing that and installing it. And we're going to be getting with them about dates to do, get with the principal and the teachers, everybody, and show them all how it works, how it operates, and how it functions properly. But that's also going to be with several items like the fire alarm and other kitchens. Although Jacob's pretty familiar with this equipment, because it's the same one we had mostly at HAB. So there will be several different items that we have trained.
And the fobs are actually optional. We had the company come and do a demonstration of them because we have all new leadership here. I wasn't even here for that, and I've been here longer than some. So we're kind of revisiting how that's going to work for our school, and if we want to do the fobs or not do the fobs, or what features we want to have and not have. So it's in the budget, yes, sir. Yeah, it was spec'd that way, but we can still edit that if we don't want to purchase the fobs.
Is there a reason why we wouldn't want to purchase the fobs?
They're about $600 or $700 a piece. It would be our only campus that would have that. It's just discussions about if we're going to do an initiative just for one campus, or if we would want it to be a district initiative. Could we roll it out everywhere? Just talking through some of those things.
Wouldn't there be like a loss as well if they lose one?
Yeah, they're very expensive.
Yeah.
So we're just, we literally met on this the week before. I don't even know what month it is. Was it last week? Man, it seems like it's been longer than that. Yeah, I think so. So, and we haven't discussed it since that meeting at all. So I just wanted them to come in and show them because I didn't even really know. I didn't even know we were doing it. And so I thought, okay, Dr. Lee doesn't know. I don't really know what all we signed up for. It's a technology thing. It's a safety thing. So I wanted to bring all of these guys up to speed.
The system itself is incredibly impressive. There are certain aspects of the system that I think are more beneficial than other. The fobs, They're really more of a way to broadcast. It's a microphone more than it's anything else, just to broadcast the teacher speaking to the room, so the teacher doesn't have to speak as much. I mean, it does have if I remember correctly, it has an emergency button on it that you can push.
Yes.
But like that's really, I mean, they were quite. I was surprised about how expensive that the individual fobs were, because not from a purchase standpoint, but we will have them. They will get lost. Or broken, and we'll have to replace them. And so our biggest conversations with the company was, is this a subscription service? Do we own it? Like, what is this? Is this an ongoing cost? And
yeah, we wanted to get all those questions answered.
So the fobs are really the part that I'm not sold on yet, just because I don't think they have the bells and whistles that maybe we initially thought that they would, I guess is maybe the best way to put it.
Would be the option to not having that push emergency button?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Ruben probably knows this better than me, but each room it does have a button where they can communicate. And at the time that this was chosen, we were not using the Raptor system like we're doing now, and Dr. Creo has since rolled that out. So we've got some different things that we're doing that they weren't doing then. So different conversation.
Any other questions for anybody? Thank you.
No, I have a question about the financials. So, construction's great.
Okay, so I've got the financials here. They're very self-explanatory. I do want to remind y'all that the budget was originally set when quite some time ago. We do edit that if things come in higher or lower. The budget available represents all money that is not encumbered, so that means that there's not a PO for it, and it's not encumbered. So we take out everything that's in a PO or everything that we've written a check for, and that's what's left. So there's the big substantial changes since our last update are going to be just closing out barns and transportation and furniture. We've done an additional furniture order, but we're close to closing that out too. So those are the biggest changes that you'll see on here. Everything else is pretty much the same. And just a reminder, the bond consultant manager, that's a common question. We do pay for that with interest earned. So we increase the budget and pay for the expense as we incur the expense. So the budget just changes every 3 months when we update this. And we do the financials every month. The Bond Oversight Committee is going to meet the first week of February at the Ag Science Facility, and they get a much more detailed financial. Do you have any other questions about financials or anything?
I just have a question about the budget available.
Yes.
With those dollar amounts, some of those are what is under budget.
Yes, ma'am.
And some of those are just expenses that have not occurred yet.
If there's not, well, if there's not a PO, but we do the full PO at the front unless there's something that we don't know about, that we haven't gone out for bids for. But at this point, we would have done that.
So that budget available is the amount that is under budget.
In all of these cases, technology infrastructure has probably still got some more work to do. Plumbing and HVAC still has some more work to do. Furniture, there may be additional POs. It's not necessarily just under budget. It's in the process.
Okay.
So if there hasn't been a PO issued, then it's not going to be reflected here. Those three projects definitely will have some more POs. Safety fencing and equipment will also have some more POs, but it is substantially under budget.
And maybe to help a little bit, and correct me if I'm wrong, Liz, but whenever we do construction on a project and we have that guaranteed maximum price or whatever the bid price was, we put that PO in for the total bid price.
For a general contractor, so like Nunnally, Kaler, the GMP, we would put that all in at the beginning.
The only thing that might not be there is contingency if something comes up, and then maybe FFE, furniture, fixtures, equipment, things like that.
Yeah, and these other projects, they're just smaller where there's not just a big general contractor on the whole thing, so there wouldn't be a GMP at the beginning of the project.
Okay. I think if we get another column the next time this is presented, that kind of how much are we under budget?
Okay.
So we have a good indication as we kind of go along the project. You know, are we just a little bit under budget? Are we a lot under budget? And so at the end, it's not a surprise. It actually went a little over budget, or it looked like it was a lot under budget, but it actually
Everything's under budget. So luckily, when they did this bond, they budgeted plenty. I think that maybe they had learned from prior experiences.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks. Anything else? The other items on here, I don't really need to go through each of them. On the financials, I just wanted to point out that both November and December are here. There's not really a whole lot to point out in November that isn't in December as well. One thing I wanted to, if you look at these and you're looking at comparing the prior year, I go through this and look for reasons why, just to look for errors. If you'll notice for other local income under revenue, there is a difference there of about $2.1 million when you compare it to December of last year. And that is because we have had about $2.1 million in extra income. That would be like insurance revenue, the damage that was here at Oak Park Mall, our central office, and then the chiller at Vogel, and then also the roof damage. So when we receive that insurance money, it goes into this pot. So that's why it's different. The only other thing I noticed that I really looked at was in Function 52, we do have about $350,000 more in expenses than we did last year at this time. That is purely from our contracted services for security, and that's because we were using a grant last year at this time that we're not using this year. But we did, if you recall from the legislation, we did see an increase in our school safety allotment that will offset some of that. Also in salaries, overall, the percent would be the same, but that you can see a pretty big difference. So if you're just looking at the dollar amount, it looks like a lot more, but the overall percent of the budget is exactly the same. In child nutrition, everything's just kind of rolling along. There's not really anything to point out there. For debt service, don't get your hopes up too much when you see that we received $3.8 million in revenue. That's a hold harmless amount, and to just not get into the weeds, that's a lot of our revenue is tied to values that come from the appraiser, and they have been very discombobulated. They were last year, and we were really hopeful that they would not be this year, but when we received our pre-preliminary values, they are. So TEA gets one number, it's not the right number, and it's a difference between the software company the appraisal district is using, the legislation, the appraisal district. So we're going to work through that again this year. And then hopefully by next year, they'll get it all lined out. The only other thing I wanted to point out isn't necessarily on the financials, but there is a budget amendment that y'all will be approving in the consent agenda. And most of that is due to revenue. See if I can find it. From the state. We have made some gains in our budget deficit. You can see that the total is now 5.172, just under 5.2 million. We are down, I think, about 118 kids. I looked today, so that's worth about $750,000. So we're making gains in our budget deficit, but a lot can change between now and the end of the year. And the value thing is huge because those values, you know, there used to look at the T2 and the T17, and those were the big ones, and now there's like 10 of them. They added some of those with the last legislative session. So when we don't have those right numbers, they can make very large swings in our revenue, which is what they did last year. And we were able to recover $1.9 million, which soaked up what was left of our deficit, but it can also swing the other way. And some of our values this year are swinging the other way. So we're working with our appraisal district to work through those. But overall, it's a very welcome budget amendment. So, do y'all have any questions? On any of the financials?
Any of that 1 through 5. So we have the financial statements, the new vendors, and the purchases over $50,000. All right.
Okay,
Looks
thank
like
you.
there's no questions. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, moving on to the consent agenda. Policy BE local states that the consent agenda shall include items of a routine and or recurring nature grouped together under one action item. All such items shall be acted upon by one vote without separate discussion unless a board member requests that an item be withdrawn for individual consideration. The remaining items shall be adopted under a single motion and vote as applicable. A, approval of the board minutes of regular meeting November 18th, 2025 and special meeting December 16th, 2025. B, approval of tax collection reports for November 2025. C, approval of tax collection reports for December 2025. D, approval of proposed budget amendments for January 2026. E, approval of donations received November 2025. F, approval of donations received December 2025. G, approval of investment report for the second quarter ended December 31st, 2025. H, consideration and possible action to delegate authority to Seguin ISD administration for easement purchase agreement with the city of Seguin. I, delegate authority to administration to execute and administer 457B deferred compensation plan. J, second reading for approval of the Texas Association of School Boards, or TASB, Policy Update 126, affecting legal and local policies and local district update LDU DFE local. Possible action, or K, possible action regarding 2025 shared services agreement for deaf and hard of hearing. And L, acknowledge Public Information Act requests November and December of 2025. Are there any items that a board member wants to pull from the consent agenda?
Madam President, I move for approval of the consent agenda items.
Second.
All right, that is a motion for Ms. Duncan and a second for Mr. Bright. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes 7-0. Moving on to action items. 9B, possible action to approve resolution to support planning and expansion of State Highway 46 between New Braunfels and Seguin.
Board, the district was contacted by the New Braunfels Chamber of Commerce concerning the State Highway 46 expansion project. Basically, the chamber is collecting letters of support from other area chambers of commerce, economic development entities, professional and technical organizations, cities, counties, school districts, anybody that is in between that area. It's my understanding that part of this work is for them to secure funding to be able to do that. And so they requested that we consider approval of a resolution supporting that expansion project. You have included in there an exhibit, which is labeled Exhibit SH46 information, and it's the highlighted area is the plan and prioritize. That's where they are in the process right now with doing this. So they've not even gotten the project necessarily off the ground. They're just trying to get those that support in there. And then you also have a copy of a potential resolution, which just says that the district supports that option and calls for planning and expansion of State Highway 46 between New Braunfels and Seguin, with direct connectors at the intersection of State Highway 46 and I-35. It's basically the main road between us and New Braunfels, and they're just asking for support if we would consider that. No obligation to do it one way or the other. They just requested, and so we put it on an agenda for you guys to consider.
Any questions?
My recommendation would be to approve it if you're interested in that recommendation. It just helps them get that funding to increase that area, which does affect a portion of our district.
Madam President, I move that we approve possible action to approve resolution to support planning and expansion of State Highway 46 between New Braunfels and Seguin.
All right, I have a motion for Mr. Guerra and a second for Mr. Dwyer for the resolution included in your packet. Are there any questions?
I guess my only comment about this or just question would be if it was that important for us to do it, why didn't someone come talk to us about it? Because I know if it's important, someone should be here. So
yeah, sure. I don't know the answer to that. Yeah, we
we
got an email on it.
Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hands. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-1. You get that, Nancy? All right, thank you. 9C, possible action to approve the superintendent's evaluation instruments.
Board, part of board policy, BJCD legal and local established that the board must evaluate the superintendent annually, and that the board must approve the evaluation instrument that's used to evaluate the superintendent. This is the evaluation instrument that we discussed back during board workshops in the fall, and there have been no changes to it. This is just merely approving that that's the instrument you will use to evaluate me.
Madam President, I move to approve the superintendent's evaluation instrument.
Second.
All right, I have a motion for Ms. Duncan and a second for Mr. Dwyer. Is there any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hands. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes 7-0. Moving on to annual financial report for the year ended June 30th, 2025.
This is just the item that was brought to you last month by our auditors. Nothing has changed. We just could not take action on it because we were waiting on the federal government, but we can now take action on it so we can file it to the state. So if you have any questions, I can answer them.
I think we were good last time.
Okay.
Do I have a motion?
Madam President, I move to approve the annual financial report for the year ended on June 30th, 2025.
Second.
I have a motion for Mr. Dwyer and a second for Mr. Bright. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hands. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. And if I didn't say it the last time, I just have to say thank you to the staff that worked really hard on this audit. Perla does a lot, not just for the business office, but a lot of other departments, and so does Sally. Also, this is not just the business office. This is the whole district. This is our special ed department. These are our campuses. This is everything. They look at everything. So it's a good job to our whole district, not just the business office. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, item 10, board comments and requests. Are there any of those?
I have a few things. One, I appreciate everyone in the district who's supporting the whole library book thing. I would like to start keeping track of how much time and effort is going into these book challenges versus educating our children. And I'd also like to incorporate the costs that go along with that so that we can have that readily available for our taxpayers because we are good stewards of our taxpayer money. And then I also have been driving the road between Vogel and Royal Ranch more frequently lately, and I would like some focused attention on that crosswalk with TxDOT and studies that we've discussed here or there, but I'm like officially requesting that we have some focused intentional attention, I guess, on that, because there's been a lot of talk with TxDOT about McQueenie, but there are no students in McQueenie right now, and there are students crossing that crosswalk in front of Vogel every single day, and there are more and more students crossing that crosswalk every single day, and so I'd like to have some type of attention there. We have some extra money, it looks like, in bond. Maybe we need to put some of that money to work for Vogel. Just not sure if safety and security, crosswalks, things like that. Just something to think about or look into. But I would like some attention there, since they are in my district. That is all.
Thank you. Any other board comments or requests?
I just, I want to make a comment. Last January when I walked into this room, I was floored by what is sitting beneath us. And it's going to make me a little emotional, but I get it more now. A year later, I get it more. Is that being a member of the board does take a lot of time, effort, and energy. But I just, tonight when I go home, it's just going to be a moment for me of just realizing how many groups work together for the good of the kids. And it was my favorite thing last year is just to have that sense of there are so many people working together for the good of our students. So I just wanted to thank everyone who put together this amazing display that's below us. Anyway, thanks.
I too just want to show my appreciation to my fellow board members. This work is not always easy. It's not always particularly fun. It's always interesting, and it has been an honor of my lifetime to serve, and it's a pleasure to serve with each of you. Thank you for your commitment to our students.
All right. Anybody else?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All right. I have a motion from Mr. Bright and a second from Ms. Duncan. All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes 7-0, and we're out at 9:32. Good job, guys.
Okay,